The world of the Do domain is divided into 4 vast realms: East, West, South, and North. Each realm spans nearly 1 billion miles in every direction, with various continents of different sizes occupying the land, and countless seas dividing them. This is the Great Eastern Realm, home to one of the 3 largest supercontinents in the Do domain world. The naming of this continent, with a diameter of approximately 40,000 miles, has been the hottest topic recently. To give it a fitting name, people have been debating endlessly. Some argue that the continent's shape resembles a giant bird, and since it was opened up by the Flame Emperor, it should be called the Flame Phoenix continent. Others insist that because it hosts the tallest mountain in the Do domain, it should be named the Heaven Cloud continent. In the end, however, no name has won universal approval. Despite this, there are some who care little about the debate, such as her. In a certain area of the 3rd continent, there is a modest mansion covering only a few dozen paces. The mansion is surrounded by a white wall, with 2 simple wooden houses inside. Everything about it feels fresh, as it was only built a week ago. Inside one of the houses, 2 women are seated on the floor. One of them is dressed in a white robe and skirt, her long, black hair cascading down like a waterfall to her slender waist. Her striking beauty resembles that of a fairy who lives far from the mundane world, exuding an ethereal, captivating aura. Her eyes, serene and calm, reflect only the gentle flow of a quiet breeze, with no trace of competitive ambition. She is Xun'er, and sitting beside her is another woman in a pink dress, Cai Lin. Both of them are considered among the most beautiful women in the world. Teacher, the world outside is so lively. Don't you want to go out and take a look? Cai Lin asked. The Do domain world is still young, and I don't like crowds. Before everything fully recovers, it's best for us to remain here in quiet cultivation, Xun'er replied, casting a glance outside. The Do Chi in this new world is quite different. Its strength and concentration are both high. If this continues, the Do domain could be thriving again in just over 10 years. It's hard to believe all of this was achieved by one person. Aren't you the one who broke your promise? Cai Lin pouted as she spoke. The gift from 2.5 years ago still hasn't arrived. Upon hearing this, Xun'er's expression slightly darkened, and she sighed, seeming a bit disappointed. Yes, she remembered that 2.5 years ago, before Xiao was about to unite the Do domain, he had promised to give her a gift. However, Xun'er didn't harbor any complaints. She understood Xiao's current status and realized that she might no longer be significant enough for him to keep her in mind. But still, Xun'er clung to the belief that Xiao wasn't the kind of person to forget promises. Teacher, how could you have rejected that guy over something like this? Cai Lin said, a hint of reproach in her tone. Then she asked curiously, why did you do it? Xun'er smiled slightly. Who knows? Maybe I just wasn't at peace with myself. Now that I think about it, teacher, you weren't wrong. That guy has really gone too far now, Cai Lin commented. He has indeed gone far, a voice suddenly echoed within the house. It wasn't Xun'er who spoke, and both Xun'er and Cai Lin turned toward the sound, as it came from outside the house. What's more, it was a woman's voice. To their surprise, standing outside was a figure they hadn't noticed before. A woman with a seductive aura. In terms of beauty, she wasn't inferior to Xun'er. This was Xiao's first wife, Cai Lin. In the current Do domain world, everything was in a state of preparation. All those at the Do Emperor level or above were busy with their responsibilities, and among the leaders were people like Cai Lin. Xun'er never expected Cai Lin to appear in front of her. It was their first time facing each other like this. After a dozen breaths, Cai Lin, standing outside the house, spoke, and her words made Xun'er's heart skip a beat. Xiao has something he wants me to pass on to you, Cai Lin said, her teeth lightly biting her silver lip. It's the gift he owes you. Gift. The word caused Xun'er's heart to tremble. She was about to speak, but once again, she froze in place. Don't you want to invite me inside for a seat? Cai Lin's voice reached Xun'er's ears. Xun'er snapped out of her daze upon hearing Cai Lin's words. She quickly stood up from the floor and said, My place is quite simple. Cai Lin heard this and immediately walked into the room. sitting down face to face with Yun on the floor. The two incredibly beautiful women sitting together, though they did nothing, gave off an air of competing for beauty. Nalin Yinran, standing nearby, couldn't help but feel it, though she gritted her teeth and stepped back to stand behind Yun. However, the fact that Cai Lin had found her here still surprised Nalin Yinran a bit. Since the rebirth of the world of the Do domain, Xiao Yin has been dealing with some matters, so there are many things he cannot attend to. I apologize to you on his behalf, Cai Lin said unexpectedly, speaking for Xiao Yin and offering her apology. Was this because of the broken promise? Yun remembered that the woman before her had once been the Medusa Queen, an emblem of arrogance that surpassed all others. But now, times had changed. The once unbeatable queen had become a wife and mother. Now, this woman was the one handling the matters behind Xiao Yin, the Flame Emperor. When the Flame Emperor ventured into the world, creating realms, Cai Lin took care of the many affairs behind him. This made her more reliable to Xiao Yin than she had ever been before. So, it's just the two of you? Cai Lin asked. According to Xiao Yin, you should have already married by now. Hearing this, Yun smiled helplessly and shook her head. He is a very good person, but we parted ways half a year ago. That's a pity, Cai Lin replied. Then she added, the gift Xiao Yin prepared for you was meant to celebrate your wedding, but now, it seems you are no longer newlywed. Well, in that case, there's no need for the gift, Yun said. Even so, the gift should still be handed over to you, because Xiao Yin put a lot of thought into preparing it. Just take it as a gift from a friend, Cai Lin said, standing up. What do you think? Would you like to come with me and see this special gift? Hearing Cai Lin's words, both Yun and Nalin Yinran were slightly stunned. Could it be that the so-called gift was not with her? I'll go, Yun said without hesitation, as if she had been waiting for this moment. Teacher, then I will wait for you here, Nalin Yinran said from behind. Just as her words fell, Cai Lin said, come along too. Buzz. As Cai Lin finished speaking, a massive wave of spiritual energy poured from her body. This force didn't rush toward Yun, but shot up into the air outside the mansion. Then, before Yun and Nalin Yinran's eyes, this vast spiritual energy formed a vortex in the sky, roughly 100 meters in diameter. Inside the vortex, it was pitch dark, but a different kind of primordial fluctuation emanated from within. This portal led outside the world of the Do domain. A dark, ethereal dimensional passage appeared, and within it, swirling space currents formed a storm that raged fiercely. When the scale was small, a heaven-merging stage expert could pass through safely. However, when it expanded to a terrifying size, the energy waves that spread out could cause even heaven-reaching stage and supreme stage experts to feel their hearts race. Whoosh! In the swirling space currents, a light sphere shot through at an incredible speed. The light sphere was about 10 meters in size, and the energy density within it was so strong that even the most violent space storms were torn apart by it. Inside the light sphere, 3 female figures could be seen. They were Cai Lin and Yun, having just emerged from the world of the Do domain. At this moment, Yun and Nalin Yinran looked back at the massive world behind them, their faces filled with shock. This was the first time they had seen the world of the Do domain from the outside. The world, with a diameter of over 200 million miles, gave them an unprecedented shock. Nalin Yinran knew that they were now moving at an astonishing speed, far away from the world of the Do domain. But even so, the world of the Do domain still appeared immense, not shrinking at all, as its sheer size overshadowed their speed. Yet Yun was also puzzled. Where exactly was Cai Lin taking her, and what was the gift Xiao Yin had prepared? She couldn't figure it out. At this speed, it will take half an hour to arrive, Cai Lin said. Where are we going? Yun asked. Cai Lin pointed ahead. Yun and Nalin Yinran followed her gaze and saw nothing but darkness. But within that darkness, there was a faint light. With Yun's current strength at the Do Saint level, her vision far surpassed that of ordinary people. It was a giant bubble with a smooth and translucent surface. Yun couldn't determine the exact shape of the large cloud within the bubble, but she knew that the faint light she saw was reflected off the bubble's surface membrane. Inside this bubble, Yun seemed to vaguely see a continent covered with valleys. This was a world independent from the Do domain, slowly drifting around it, forming a circular world. For some reason, Yun felt a sense of familiarity with the shape of the continent's surface, but it was still too far away for her to see clearly. Could Xiaoyan's gift be within that world drifting around the Do domain? With curiosity in her heart, Yun and Nalin Yinran continued at this speed, following Cai Lin. After about half an hour, they finally arrived at the outer edge of this drifting world. It was a vast world, thousands of miles in size. Inside it, there were 2 continents, each spanning thousands of miles. In addition to that, there were vast oceans, with the land-to-sea ratio about 3-to-1. Let's go in. When they reached the outer edge of the drifting world, Cai Lin did not immediately tear through the dimensional space of the world, but turned to Yun and said, "This world can only be opened by you. With my strength, it would be difficult to force my way in." Me? Yun was startled. Cai Lin, with her terrifying strength almost reaching the peak of the Do D, couldn't force her way into this drifting world, yet she, a newly advanced Do Shang, could open it? This world isn't entirely separate from the Do domain. It should be connected to the Do domain, a different space within the same world. It's just that I couldn't find a direct dimensional passage to here from within the Do domain. So I had to travel here the long way, Cai Lin explained. All right, I'll give it a try. Yun nodded and immediately moved forward, with Nalin Yinran following closely behind. Whoosh! Yun's figure rushed to the outer edge of the drifting world, only half a meter away from it. She slowly raised her palm and gently placed it on the outermost membrane of the drifting world. Then, a scene that surprised both Yun and Nalin Yinran unfolded. As Yun's fair hand touched the membrane, it softened and became like clear water, flowing and twisting. Then, a dimensional passage, several dozen meters in size, opened up before them. Through this passage, they could enter the drifting world. All right, the thing he entrusted me with has been delivered. Just as Yun opened the dimensional passage, Cai Lin spoke from behind. This entire world should be a gift Xiaoyan left behind when he merged the Do domain. He put a lot of effort into it, and I hope you'll accept the gift he gave you. Wait, is what he gave me this entire world? Cai Lin's words made Yun realize the truth. She had initially thought Xiaoyan had placed something within this drifting world, but she never expected that the gift Xiaoyan gave her was, in fact, the entire world drifting outside the Do domain. But why would Xiaoyan give her a world? This world should have a dimensional passage directly back to the Do domain. As long as you remember it, you'll be able to enter this world from the Do domain anytime, Cai Lin continued. The gift has been delivered, and I've completed my task. Since that's the case, I no longer have business here. With that, Cai Lin turned and swiftly flew back towards the Do domain, which was over 1 billion miles away. Left behind in the outer edge of the drifting world were Yun and Nalin Yinran. After watching Cai Lin leave, Yun took a deep breath and turned her gaze back to the drifting world. Her figure flickered, and she dove into the open dimensional passage, with Nalin Yinran immediately following. Whoosh! As the surrounding darkness faded away, a bright world clearly appeared before Yun and Nalin Yinran. At this moment, they were high above a continent. However, when Yun realized where they were, her expression trembled. Earlier, she couldn't make out the situation from outside the drifting world, but now, as she saw it clearly, she finally understood what Xiaoyan had given her. Yun's body trembled, and Nalin Yinran, standing beside her, also looked at the world before them. She had never expected that Xiaoyan would give her teacher something like this. When Xiaoyan was merging the world of the Do domain, he preserved part of the magical Beast Mountain range, creating a world of its own, which now slowly drifts around the Do domain. This was the gift Xiaoyan gave to Yun. Teacher, I need to check the other side. At this moment, Nalin Yinran spoke up. Since this is the magical Beast Mountain range, what about the other continent? Yun understood what Nalin Yinran was thinking. She knew that whatever Xiaoyan left behind must have a purpose. The continent here was centered around the magical Beast Mountain range, and since it held memories of Yun and Xiaoyan, the other continent was likely related to her as well. What exactly did the other continent hold? Swish. With this question in mind, Nailin Yinran swiftly moved out. With her current strength as a 7-star Dozun, the thousands of miles distance could be crossed in just 2 hours for a round trip. As Nailin Yinran headed towards the other continent, Yun also rushed toward the magical Beast Mountain range. With her speed, it only took a few minutes to reach the heart of the mountain range. Here, the scene was exactly as it had been before. The magical beasts soaring through the air, bringing a unique vitality to the area. However, just as Yun reached the core of the magical Beast Mountain range, a loud, hearty laugh echoed from within the mountains. Haha, long time no see. The laugh rang out from within the mountains, carrying a deep, powerful tone that even disturbed the do-chi of the surrounding mountain range. Yun immediately turned her gaze towards a nearby mountain peak. When she focused on that peak, she saw a burly middle-aged man sitting cross-legged several hundred feet away. The man was dressed in blue robes, his hair purple, and his eyes glowed with a purple light. From afar, he gave off a majestic presence. Who are you? Yun asked directly as she looked at the man in the magical Beast Mountain range. She couldn't recall anyone living in this beast-infested area who looked like him. From what she could sense, the man's strength wasn't formidable. He was just at the 4-star Do Zone level. His aura, however, didn't seem human but resembled that of a powerful magical beast that had taken human form. This man's true form was a magical beast. The purple-robed man scratched his head helplessly and said, "You really don't remember me, do you?" With a helpless expression, the man stood up, releasing a mighty aura from his body. This aura was a purple do-chi, and under Yun's gaze, it slowly coalesced behind him into a giant beast image, towering over 100 feet. Seeing the beastly figure forming behind the man, Yun finally recalled certain things and a powerful magical beast. Just as she was remembering some past events, the man's deep voice confirmed the guess in Yun's heart. Long time no see.